one of the stories that haunts me that comes out of the Apollo program was one of the astronauts went to the moon, and when he came back, was sitting out with his little daughter in the backyard, and they were looking up at the moon. He had just literally walked on it, and he goes, "Do you have any questions?" And she goes, "Yeah, Dad. Can we go camping now?" There was a sense in which it was like, the moon is great, Dad, but what about like me? There was like a lot of divorces came out of that era. They put their career ahead of their family, and you guys have shown that you don't have to choose that, that you can prioritize your marriage and your kids in the midst of it, and to watch their beaming faces, that they weren't like, "Well, yeah, great, you're getting an award, Dad, but we haven't seen you for the last couple of years." Like, you guys have fought for that to not take place.
Yeah, and a key part of that is that, I think you know this, but I've talked about this publicly a lot, is that The Chosen was birthed from failure. My movie bombed, and around that same time, we were having some difficulties in my job. I was working at a church, and we've ultimately decided. I left my job, I resigned, and kind of went all in on The Chosen and the crowdfunding thing. But at the time I did it, nothing had happened yet. The crowdfunding hadn't happened yet. And so there was about 4 months where I didn't have income and we didn't have benefits. We then embraced, Christian health share ministry, Samaritan, which was amazing. And, but I mean, we involved our kids in that process. See, that was the key, is we didn't just involve our kids in the win and in the fun and what ended up happening. It was, we said, this is why Dad is doing this. It's going to be difficult, but we believe it's the right thing, and we do hard things. When we believe God is calling us to something hard, we do it, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense. And so even what's cool is, I remember the head of Samaritan Ministries said to me, "Make sure you include your kids in this challenging process, because they're going to get to see what God does." And as soon as I left my job, and as soon as we had no benefits but switched to this health share ministry, we had more medical emergencies and issues than we'd had in the previous 20 years combined. God. I'm telling you, for a month and a half, I had an emergency appendectomy. My daughter shattered her collarbone. My other daughter had an internal issue. Yeah.
Gotcha. An issue of blood for 12 years. No, I'm just kidding.
And it was unbelievable. And so all of a sudden we have 6 figures worth of medical bills. And we told our kids, all right, this is what's happening, and we're in this.
Here's why we can't go to McDonald's.
Yeah. And here's the issue. But we believe God's gonna be part of this, and provide. And so we included them in that process. So then when the medical bills all got covered, and then when The Chosen slowly started to grow, and then when it exploded, they were part of that too. And that became a beautiful, spiritual, enriching experience for them, because we hadn't kept them from the painful period as well.